Hey there guys, before we get too far into the video, I just wanted to go through, give it a quick unboxing, my thoughts on the locomotive, because this thing's going to have a ton of content, and you know, for what little bit my 2 cents are worth, we're going to throw it in there and have some fun. So, all that said, I'm really excited for this locomotive. I test ran it this morning. It is awesome. You know, I was on the fence for ordering, and I think it was YouTube user Shigemon, one of the users out of Japan, who uploaded a Kato factory tour, showed the production on the big boy, what's under the hood, and I was hooked. So this was well worth the purchase. Really smooth locomotive. It's got a really cool feature that you're going to see later in the video, where this is the only in-scale locomotive, or the only articulated I've seen, where the drivers will naturally go in and out of sync once you run it. So there may be some shots where you have the locomotive and the rods are dead in line. You'll run it backwards, forwards a couple times, and suddenly they'll be out of sequence just like the prototype, which is a really, really cool touch. So let's dig in real quick. I'm not going to talk too much because everybody wants to see this thing run, myself included. So here we go. So first things first is the box. There was a lot of criticism I saw on Facebook. You know, people were talking about Kato not doing the plastic clamshell for the locomotive. And honestly, this is okay. I respect their decision, because think about it. You're getting a new tool locomotive, and then all of a sudden you've got to tool a new box for it, new plastic parts. It's much easier to pull this, and this thing's honestly about the size of some of their HO scale boxes. It is so much easier to do this in a nice presentation format, and it looks fantastic. So what you get in the box is honestly very simple. You get a secondary pilot, and just to show you guys, it does clip onto the front, so you can pull this up and out, so you can have a coupler on the front if you wanted to double head. That's a neat little touch, so you don't have to do any major plastic surgery. Kato was ahead of the ball on this one. And we'll just go ahead and unbox it real quick. And I really like this because if you wanted to unbox it or put it on the track, all you have to do is just slide it out, nice and gingerly, and you're done. So right out of the box, what do I think? I think this is a beautiful locomotive. Kato took some clever shortcuts to make this a very flexible locomotive, so you can run it on a wide variety of layouts. I think they said the minimum radius is 11 3/4, which is pretty darn good for an articulated locomotive. But as you'd expect with Kato, it is made beautifully and runs like a watch. So if you don't know what this thing has, it has 2 cordless motor drive units underneath the hood. If we pick it up, you'll see the rear driver set kind of doing its thing here, pivoting freely. And there's the front doing its thing. One thing about it, the fit and finish on this locomotive are beautiful. It looks, you know, I was fortunate. 4014 was the first big boy I saw. It's matching to a T what I took in photos, video, and from memory. This is a beautiful locomotive. Another feature I don't think's quite been talked about lies in the tender, and I think this shares the same tender as the Northerns, whereas you get a the middle bogie actually pivots. They're not fixed like on an HO scale locomotive. And this is really clever because, again, it comes into that whole navigating tighter turns. So your rear truck pivots, the front truck pivots, and then your middle axles also pivot. So you get a lot more flexibility for what curves you can take with this size of a locomotive. And I really appreciate that approach coming out of the gate. Kato did the right thing by making this marketable to as many people as they could, you know, where if you do have a little bit of a tighter layout, as long as you match that minimum curve, you are in business. So the engine can fit your layout instead of the usual having to upgrade everything you own to fit a locomotive. Alright, so one quick tech note before we get going. It should be noted, the locomotive does not have an operating tender backup light. I believe, you know, on the DCC sound models it probably will, but on your straight DC model like this guy, only the front headlight fires. Alright, so just one other quick note before we close out. Pricing, it's going to be all over the board. The Kato, I think the advertised price is $399, but most retailers, you know, you go through everything, you're going to be paying on the street around $265 to $280, and that's before shipping, taxes, all that fun stuff. So what do I think? I think this is honestly a fantastic value for what you're getting. It's a beautiful looking big boy. You know, the twin cordless motors are really smooth. The pulling power is great. They have traction tires. And inevitably, we're going to find out how much this thing can tow whenever it goes down to the club layout. And as sketchy as that track can be in spots, you guys have seen the videos, it's going to be cheap entertainment to see, number one, if the track work can work with the big boy, and number two, just how much it can pull. No, we do not have the Union Pacific cars, but I know for a fact there are at least 2 sets of Kato coaches down there, so I think we can easily cobble something together. So enough out of me, we're going to let the locomotive do the talking from here on in. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Oh boy. Oh, no way. And y'all thought I was joking about the track.